Hey there, and welcome. Today, we're diving into something really special, a traditional remedy that's just perfect for this time of year. We're talking about Chayote pear soup. You know that feeling when the weather starts to turn? That seasonal dryness, maybe a little tickle in your throat, or just that chill from autumn and winter setting in? Well, if that sounds familiar, you are in exactly the right place. This soup we're talking about, it's designed to help with all of that. So, first up, let's talk about why this is a season's comforting remedy. We're going to look at why this soup is so much more than just a meal. It's really a traditional wellness essential, especially when those drier months roll around. What's really interesting here is the soup's main goal. The sources actually call it a clear and sweet tonic, and that phrase tells you so much. It's not some heavy, greasy thing. Nope. Its whole job is to gently moisturize your system from the inside out, just helping you feel balanced and really well hydrated. Okay, so who is this soup really for? Well, according to traditional principles, it's pretty ideal for anyone dealing with a dry cough or maybe a weaker respiratory system. It's also fantastic for those who feel heaty. That's a term for a kind of internal inflammation, like when you feel flushed or get a sore throat. And on top of all that, it's great for strengthening digestion and giving the whole family's immunity a nice little boost. All right, let's get into how this magic all comes together. Next up, the nourishing ingredients. Seriously, think of this part as meeting the all-star cast, where every single ingredient is a key player with a really specific and important job to do. So here's a quick rundown of our headliners. First, you've got Chayote. That's our star for moistening the lungs and clearing out heat. Then there's dried pear, working right alongside it to soothe the respiratory system. Chinese Yam, that's all about digestion. And of course, the pork bone gives us that rich, nourishing protein base to bring it all home. Now, let's zoom in on two of these key players, Chinese Yam and Chayote, because they really show you the soup's balanced approach. See, the Chayote is all about providing that direct, soothing hydration for your lungs. But then the Chinese Yam comes in and works on a much deeper level, strengthening your internal energy and digestion. They're like the perfect team. So I just mentioned qi, right? You might be wondering what that is. Well, in traditional Chinese medicine, qi is basically your vital life force. Just think of it as the energy that flows through your body and pretty much powers everything you do. And ingredients like Chinese yam are believed to directly supplement and strengthen that essential energy. Now, for an extra boost to your lung health, the recipe calls for 15 grams of apricot kernels. But here's the thing, it's not just about tossing them in. The specific ratio of the kernels, well, that's where the traditional wisdom really, really shines through. And check this out, because it's a brilliant example of how precise these recipes are. You're going to use a 3-to-1 ratio of south to north apricot kernels. Now, from a traditional standpoint, this is not random at all. The south kernels are seen as sweet. Their job is mainly to moisten and soothe. But the north kernels, they're bitter and way more potent, used to dispel phlegm and stop a cough. See, if you use too much of that potent north kernel, it could actually be a bit harsh. So that 3-to-1 balance makes sure you get all the powerful benefits, but without creating any imbalance. It's just a perfect harmony of gentle nourishment and really targeted action. Okay, so we've covered the why and the what. Now for the fun part, the how. Let's get into crafting the perfect broth. This is going to be your super clear step-by-step guide to making this incredible soup right in your own kitchen. But wait. Before we even think about simmering, I have to let you in on the #1 secret to getting a beautiful, crystal clear, professional quality soup. And believe me, it all comes down to one absolutely crucial prep step. It's all about the blanching method. And here's the key. You have to start the pork bones in cold water. This gently draws out all the impurities as the water heats up. Let it boil for about 3 to 5 minutes, then, and please remember this part, it's so important, rinse the bones with warm water. If you use cold water, the meat will just seize up and get tough. This one simple process is your guarantee for a super clean taste and a gorgeous crystal clear broth. Once that pork is blanched, honestly, the rest is a breeze. Just chop your fresh veggies, like the chayote and carrot, into nice, large chunks. Then take all those wonderful dried ingredients and give them a good soak for about 30 minutes to bring them back to life. Oh, and here's a little pro tip from the source. If you can, go for leaner cuts like pork shin or ribs. It'll give you a less oily, much cleaner tasting soup in the end. And the cooking process itself? Super straightforward. Everything, except for the chayote, goes into the pot with your blanched pork. Bring it all up to a boil, then knock the heat down and let it simmer on low for an hour.
After that hour is up, you'll add the chayote chunks for another 30 minutes. A little pinch of salt at the very end, and that's it. You're done.
But hold on a second. That might make you wonder, right? Why wait a whole hour to add one of the main ingredients? Well, there's a really good and very specific culinary reason for doing it that way.
It's all about the texture, my friends. Chayote cooks way faster than the pork bones and the dried yams. So if you threw it in right at the beginning, by the time the soup was done, it would just be complete mush. Adding it in for just that last half hour, that ensures it's perfectly tender but still holds its shape. It's a game changer.
All right, let's bring it all home and look at the big picture here. This is our final section, your takeaway. Because as you've probably figured out, this is about so much more than just a recipe. So, what are the 3 main things to remember? First, this soup is amazing for moisturizing your lungs to help fight off that seasonal dryness and cough. Second, it strengthens your digestion, and we can thank the Chinese yam for that. And third, it offers this wonderful holistic nourishment that just helps boost your overall immunity. You know, there's a quote from the source material that just captures it all perfectly. Nourish the body and mind, enhance immunity. It's such a simple phrase, but it perfectly sums up the holistic goal of this tonic. It's not just about your physical health. It's about your overall sense of well-being. And that really just leaves us with a final thought, doesn't it? This soup, it's a piece of culinary wisdom passed down through generations. And it kind of makes you wonder, what other amazing traditional wisdom is out there just waiting for us to rediscover it?